Hey, movie and TV super fans, welcome to the Real Chatter podcast. I'm your host, Jaree of Jaree Reviews Media, and joining me today in the screening room is an aspiring actress, writer, and entertainment super fan, Bao. And also joining me is an entertainment super fan, Belinda. Today we are talking all things monsters, the Lyle and Erik Menendez story from Ryan Murphy and Netflix. The Netflix drama presents the murders from a different perspective as it explores what might have led to the siblings killing their parents. It follows the events surrounding the murders, including the brothers' claims of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. What's up, ladies?
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
What's
how
going
you
on? Thank you
doing?
for joining me on the Real Chatter podcast.
Yes,
Yeah, thank
it's
you
my
for
first
having
time,
us.
so
Yeah, I said we're in the screening room because I think that's
yes, of
Well,
course.
this is a screening room, so
yeah.
uh,
So Monsters came out on Netflix, what, like 2 weeks ago? And it has been
Yeah.
all the buzz on all social media, all
Mhm.
online, all these interviews. So we're just going to jump right into it. So let's talk
Hmm.
about what we did like about the series first. Val, you go first.
okay, I will say I thoroughly enjoyed the acting. That
Mhm.
was one of like the best acted thing I've ever seen in my life. A lot of energy from the brothers. Correct me on his name. Is it Cooper Koch?
Cooper
Yes.
Cock.
And
I think,
then Nicholas Alexander Chavez.
mhm.
Mwah. Like I Oh my God. We'll get into like breaking down each episode, but
Mhm.
it's just this particular episode, I was just like, oh my goodness. What
Mm.
like I felt like they were living through the events that the real brothers lived through. And it was just phenomenal to see. Granted, I did not like the way the story was told
Mm.
because it wasn't too accurate to the actual story, but the acting was just I have to give them their props.
Yeah.
What about you, Belinda?
Pretty much the same. If it like to me, if it wasn't for the acting, I don't think that it would have been as successful as it is.
Mhm.
They stole the show like everybody, and I have to say, Cooper Kashi made, I'm a new fan. I'm obsessed. I think he's so talented. I when I was done, I was like Googling, trying to find his other stuff. NAC, I mean, he's from General Hospital. I met him there, met him. Got to know him as an actor in there, and I knew he was brilliant. And just he elevated himself. There's some scenes that I could like, I had seen a little bit of NEC in General Hospital, but other scene he just elevated, and he was just. I thought he was gonna be brilliant, but he just is like surpassed it. It was fantastic. I love the music. It
Mhm.
brought me back to being 13 and 14 with Minnie Vanilli and all the songs.
Yeah.
And it's the sexual innuendos, the incestual stuff that was implied within the show that really took me out. And I had a completely different idea of what Monsters was going to be from Ryan, and he failed in that
Well, we
regard.
talk about things we like. Hold on.
Yeah, but the things he like, no, the things that
Yeah.
we like is the acting. Even Javier, Chloe, that scene where she's ripping off her son's toupee. Wow. And even when she's in the office and she's talking to the therapist, how she is like,
Mhm.
I when I finished, I truly hated Jose and I hated Kitty, and they did a brilliant job at capturing their version of who they were. Like, wow, that's all I have to say. And the music just made me happy.
Yeah, the music was great. The acting was great. What they killed their parents in 1989,
Hmm.
so I had to be 3. So I really don't remember too much of the trial, even though they were tried a few years after that. I really don't
Yeah.
remember too much, um, if anything at all. So I didn't watch any documentaries on them. I mean, I just knew that they killed their parents, and they said that they claimed that the parents had abused them. But the acting was great, and like you, I was introduced to Nicholas through General Hospital, and I have met him. People that are familiar with me, I've met him a million times at all his events.
Hmm.
So I just expected him. to do what he was going to do because I was familiar with his acting through General Hospital, and he is a daytime Emmy winner. We should say that. So he has
Yeah.
talent. But like you said, I went in just like I'm going to check it out because Nick is in it. If he wasn't in it, I probably wouldn't have watched it. But
Mm.
I came out being a Cooper Cox fan, super fan, stan, whatever you want to call me. His standalone episode, episode 5, The Hurt Man. I really hope he gets acknowledged for that when it comes to award season, because I think that was a single shot, one take, or whatever they said it was amazing.
Hmm.
He really just made me feel so bad for Erik. Like I just felt so bad for him. And of course, Nicholas had his. It wasn't a standalone episode, but his episode where he wasn't acting over the top asshole was when he was in the courtroom giving his testimony, and that was great as well. So yeah, I agree with you guys. The acting saved it because obviously we have a lot to say that we didn't like. So who wants to start with that?
Oh my God. Well, first off, the sexual innuendo was just a little bit over the top for me because, granted, I didn't know too much about the story when going into this. So I was just like really excited because I was like, okay, what is this one about? And I looked it up really quickly and I was like, oh, they killed their parents. Oh my God. But then watching it, I was like, wait, what? Why? No, this doesn't make sense. And then I don't like the fact that they changed Erik's character to make it seem like he was gay when that's nowhere close to the real story. And then the fact that the brothers kind of had a thing with each other, and then they completely changed Lyle's character because from what they like people who actually knew them was like Lyle was never that aggressive. He was never like that like angry and all that stuff. It was just like he was the sweetest person. So I'm just like, why did Ryan decide to go in this direction with it? And it's a bit alarming. But then also it's like, what if there's people who aren't like me, who aren't going to look at the real story? Then this is the only portrayal they have, and then it's inaccurate. I think it's just very, what is the word I'm looking for? Like,
It just
it's just
does a disservice.
irresponsible. Well, for me, it's irresponsible storytelling. You could tell a
Thank
story,
you.
cool, but if these aren't characters you've created, these are real people with real emotions, and they went through a thing, and you're kind of just dismissing it for the sake of what?
It's the fact that they're still alive too. I can understand, like,
That
if they weren't
too. That
here
too.
and you had the opportunity to speak to them, and he said he's not going to speak to them. He has no desire to speak to them, and I'm like, but you wrote a story about their lives. How can you not want to speak to them?
And what killed me about that too is that he's like they didn't even see it before they made a comment about like what I put out there. And you didn't talk to them about
Thank you.
what I put out there. So why do you get to be upset and they can't?
Mm.
Like, I don't
This is my
understand.
life. Yeah, this is my life. If they could sue, I don't know how that works when you're a felon or a convicted murderer.
Yeah.
I would, or the wife maybe could sue on their behalf or the wives because they're both married.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I have no problem with you giving your interpretation, but before the series start, put that on there. This is a fictional interpretation of
That
real
part.
events
Based
based
on a true
on real
story.
events. Yeah, that's all you have to say.
That,
Yeah, a little
that's it.
disclaimer. You would have been fine. But you're like, no, this is
And
how
it's
I
like
tell the story.
you cannot give the parents perspective because you didn't talk to the parents because the parents are not here. So where did you get that information from? Where did you get their perspective from? Who did you
It,
talk to? No one.
right. Right. Exactly. And then even like the family members are just like, no, the parents, they were abusive. They yelled a lot. They didn't
Exactly.
treat those boys. I mean, maybe they didn't know to the extent of what they mistreated them, but I'm pretty sure Kyle, who's Kyle? Lyle
Everyone
I
and
does
say the
that.
same thing.
Everyone does that.
Same thing.
I just be merging their names because Lyle
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that's very unique. But no, Lyle and Erik had to have said something to somebody. So where are those people that are coming forward, like that should come forward and be like, yeah, well, I heard about it, and
Mm.
that is how this guy was.
Well, the boy or the man now from Menudo, who was a boy at the time, has come out and said that their father,
Yeah.
Jose, was abusive. So,
And it might come into play because apparently 60 days from now there's going to be a judgment because they're in the process of trying to get them out.
yeah.
And there's four plausible like option. It could be time serve. It could be he has an extra, they have an extra 2, 3 years, up to 5 years, and then they're released. There could be a status quo, or there's another option. But I felt exactly like you, Valerie. For me, it's like Ryan didn't understand the relationship between a sibling. Like you are close to your sibling, but it's never a sexual thing. You
Mhm.
just you put and like because I was when when they killed their parents, I was probably 8. And when the trial happened, I was 12. I knew nothing. Like I heard about it. I remember my mom and my eldest sister talking about it, but like what's a 12-year-old going to talk about it like murder? We don't care. We just want to play with our GI Joes or whatever, stuff that was happening at that time. But then I did after watching the series because it just didn't sit well with me the way that he would just throw that in there in sexual innuendos between the brothers and incestuous. And I know like Kyle, they portrayed Kyle as such a brute and a
Lyle,
violent
Lyle.
Lyle. See? Lyle as such a brute and a violent person. And when I was seeing it, maybe because I know a little bit of NEC in it, and then it just flew in my judgment. But I saw it as a way like, if this was happening to me, if I was being sexually abused and beaten up and belittled and hated by my parents, like, because I did some research, these boys knew their parents hated them. So do you imagine that, like, already as an adult, let's just say as an adult, and you know that your parents don't like you, how it can affect you. So imagine as young adults, 22, 21 and 18. Like that's your whole being. And especially that all you want is to love them. And I saw that as a defense mechanism. Like, yeah, you want me to consider, you want to consider me as a horrible person that I'm gonna be. And then to find out afterwards, after doing the research, that Kyle was the sweetest, calmest, and you even watched the court TV interviews, like he was calm, that those boys were in pain. So to try to portray them as such was very off-putting, and everything that Ryan has said afterwards is just being like, wow, you're not a nice person. Um, I didn't like that. I didn't like. And also, like the inaccuracies, even that he thought would make sense, didn't, because there's in episode 7 when the reporter Dune is like explaining his theory of how their brothers are like having this incestual relationship, and they're all at the dining table, and he's explaining that theory, and the woman on his right says, well, if they're gay, that's okay. And I was like, that makes no sense. Because I remember in 1989, nobody was like super open with
They weren't.
gay, trans, or being flamboyant. That
Mhm.
was not a thing that was happening. So I was like, that just took it out. And it wasn't, come to find out, the more research that you do, like it's all his fantasy. He's saying it was all of his fantasy and not really reality. And I didn't like that. I just, call me naive. I really, really thought that even though like Ryan has a way of taking properties with his work, because he did it with Dahmer, I really thought, I'm like, those boys are alive. There's no way that he was not going to do an accurate portrayal of it. And he didn't. Um, I personally believe, honestly, to be truly honest, I couldn't care less about Dunn's point of view. I didn't care. It didn't make the series better.
Yeah.
Episode 8 and 9 could have been a blur. Could have been combined together, making an half an hour if you wanted to give me that perspective. Um, I just like, but I have to say he did puzzle, because at the end you're wondering, even though that you understand now that we have a little bit more knowledge when it comes to sexual abuse and so forth, I did come across and be like, who is truly like my statement was their parents were monsters and they created monsters because you'll have to go into an evil part of yourself to decide to shoot your parents in the face. I'm sorry, even though I have my own opinion about that, I would have done
I was
worse.
gonna say, not even in the case, like it's just a matter of, and I hope that they got this correct, because I didn't fact check this, but to go back and reload, knowing that they're severely hurt, chances are they're
Yeah.
not gonna make it. But you went and reloaded, went back and emptied the clip again.
Mm.
That is someone who's just in pain. So that
And
should, the manner of which they were killed should have definitely screamed,
thank you.
okay, they went through something.
But
Because
we weren't as knowledgeable in 92. Even though it was in 92, 93, we weren't knowledgeable.
you know.
They made it seem as though um a boy could only take all this rape for how this long if you liked it.
Mhm.
Even like, because I rewatch and take your time watching it because it hurts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how anybody in that court they never, they seem so vulnerable, so hurt, so much pain.
Yeah.
And to understand the psychological thing that you have, I believe them when they say they were afraid for their lives. Like, the Kitty hated Lyle.
Mhm.
But and Jose hated Erik.
Yeah.
Like, you can,
I
like,
believe I believe they were abused. I don't
yeah,
think you get up there and act that well on the witness stand.
no,
When you watch their real testimony, it's like, wow. I don't think I can't imagine they were faking. Um, they were abused. I that scene in the first episode where they did show the murder, I didn't think they were going to go that detailed into it, so that took me by surprise. I was like, oh, okay, we're really showing like fingers getting blown off, his face getting blown off. That was like a lot. And I'm like, can you also imagine though? You're like, oh, they didn't watch it. Could you imagine them? I'm sure they replay that night over and over again in their heads. It happened. Like, I don't want to watch that on TV. I don't want to watch my murder, like me murdering someone on TV, my crime on
Yeah.
TV. Like, I don't need to see it. I was there.
Yeah.
And and I said this on Twitter in the spaces. I said, look, if they get out, fine. But I am of the mind too, like if they were out and I saw them walking, I'll probably go across the street. I'm not gonna lie because you just don't know.
That is so
know, and
funny.
they are murderers.
But
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, why am I the complete opposite though? Like,
I
You would
I
be
wouldn't,
like, you
yeah,
would be
I
fine.
wouldn't cross the street.
psychological. Well, first of all, just I hope they don't watch the show, because from a psychological perspective, that could trigger something, and
Right.
we don't want that. But if I did see them, I'd be like, I'm sorry. Can we grab lunch? And
Yeah,
I just want to talk. I want to try to understand
I am different.
that
I
yeah,
I'm
avoid it.
so
Like
weird
I
like
support
that.
them. I
I'm with
support
you.
them, but like I don't need to talk to them.
I
Like
would,
I got you. I got your story. I'm good.
I would give them a hug. I
Yeah,
would just
I
give them
feel
a
bad
hug
for
and be
them
like,
though.
because listen, there's worse psychopaths out there who have
Oh yeah,
committed
sure.
horrendous crime, who are walking free, and it's perfectly normal. So everybody, like, is the saying, let's give people a second chance, just a saying, or is it true? Are we gonna obey by that?
No,
And
that's what I'm saying. I'm all
yeah,
for them getting out.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
they served enough time. I just don't need anything else from them. Like I got your story. I'm good.
You're like, no, I get it. I know what you're capable of.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Like
They are
because y'all know
murderers
I
at the
like to
end of the
joke. I
day.
might say the
Yeah,
wrong damn
Yeah.
thing, and they might be
I
like,
do think I think they should have served time for what they did, but we also have to consider like why they did what they did. And I think that's why a lot of people haven't been considering that.
Mhm.
yeah.
Because
You missed what I said though, Val.
huh? Wait,
I
what'd you
said
say?
you missed what I said.
What'd you say?
I said y'all know me. Like I do inappropriate jokes, and I might make the wrong inappropriate joke to them, and they might be like, so I'm like,
Oh no, that's true though. Because I don't have a filter, so I might say the wrong thing. I'm
yeah,
like,
like I'm good. I just don't want to put myself in that
oh,
situation.
I'm sorry.
Uh,
Where's your car parked?
Yeah.
Probably have the gun in the trunk. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
I
Um,
will support you from afar.
but
I
one
think
thing
your
I
jokes are
do,
hilarious, but that's
one thing I do like about the fact that this came out is the fact that the conversation's being had again.
Yeah.
Because think about it, before this series came out, who was talking about them? Like
Yeah.
they,
I
I
mean,
mean, they
they
were,
had other series, but they had,
but
I
they were
feel like
more
the
like
newest,
documentaries. Because like, how many times can you tell the same story, right?
they
But
had one with the lady from Sopranos, the Menendez trials on NBC or something. It was like Law and Order, the Menendez trials. Not too
Lord.
long ago. Yeah. It was like part of that OJ Simpson. Like they
Mm.
had did a series. Yeah.
Oh, love that you brought him up because why was he? I'm wondering why. Did they really interact, those
See,
brothers?
I don't
they
know.
did.
Oh, they did? He
And
met
if
them?
and
Yeah,
there's
they
proof of
did.
that? There's proof of that?
Well, they I had seen clips that they were in the same
Jail?
jail,
Mm.
and what the details of the interaction, if it's true, what was on what was in the movie, I can't
I
say.
feel like it was interpretation. It wasn't like
Yeah.
a.
No, me too, because I'm like, it doesn't, there's a lot of things that I did not believe that are true. It really, really was true. Like that
Oh,
snatch up scenes with the toupee.
oh, that
I
was
thought it was just a regular thing that it was. Yeah, I know it's hilarious. I get it. I get it. But that truly happened. It did
watch
not
that scene.
happen in the den. He took creative liberty in the whole scenes, but that really truly did happen. That's how Lyle found out that Erik was getting kept on getting raped by his father. The whole it was a completely different scene, but
Sorry.
it really did happen. Kitty really snatches.
Like, is this supposed to be a comedy at this point? Because I didn't mean to laugh, but I was like,
She
come
really did
on.
snatch
It
his
was
finger.
so ridiculous the way it
It was
happened.
the way he did it is ridiculous because the way Lyle tells it, it's heartbreaking, like gut
Okay.
wrenching.
I
To
need to watch. I need to watch how Lyle tells it, like the real Lyle.
I saw a couple of videos, some
Yeah, I
that
have to see the real thing.
normal, that
Yeah,
not too graphic.
because when it was yanked off, I busted out laughing.
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
too.
And father was like, "Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to laugh. And it's also like if you know Nicholas, the actor, like his hair is like very important to him. And so it was just like so weird to see him with that ball cap. Um, we're gonna have to wrap it up in about 9 minutes.
Ooh, okay.
okay."
Yeah, I know.
This
I got
is
the giggles
fun.
This
now.
was fun. Yes, it's fun. You guys are always
I
Yeah,
welcome
got the
back.
giggles now. Okay, so
yeah.
Um,
before, like in the last bit, let's decide. Okay, if you did not know anything about the story, the real story, you only have monsters to go based off of, would you believe that would you believe the brothers, or would you believe that they're just monsters themselves?
Absolutely, I would believe the brothers.
I probably
You
would still
believe the
believe
brothers?
them because I
Yeah.
always believe abuse victims. I really do. I give them the benefit of the doubt. You have to prove to me that they was lying. I'm
Yeah.
always just gonna take their side because that's something like you just cannot play with something like that. And I just
Mhm.
can't imagine, even though I know people have, I just cannot imagine somebody making that up.
Exactly. And especially in that time,
Mhm.
1989, 1992, it's
Yeah,
not
who's gonna
something
what men are gonna say that?
exactly you like. I would die. I would think you would have literally have to dig my body from my grave for me to tell you that if I was a man that this was happening. And especially how we were very narrow-minded. Any suspicions that we had back then, like we would just be like, no, it's not happening, it's not real. So for them to go that route and being very detailed, no.
Also, the whole money angle to me doesn't make sense because they
Mm,
were already getting everything that they wanted. They had cars, they were in
exactly.
Princeton, they were doing tennis overseas. They had everything. So it's like kill them for what when they were already getting paid? They lived at home.
Mm.
Yeah.
Everything was taken care of. So it was no need to kill them for money. They already had access to the money. So that
And,
just that money angle didn't make sense to me.
and even if like you take out the sexual assault, all of those years, it's like, for you as a child to decide to want to kill your parents, even though they're giving you everything, that tells you right there what kind of psyche they were playing on you for you to, at that point that you're like, I'd rather spend my entire life in jail than to be in a world, still be with these people.
Yeah. And I
It's
get
not something, it's not something you take lightly at all.
One thing I did hear them say is like, oh, if there was abuse, then why did you guys stay? Why did you stay so long? You could have run away. And I'm just like, there's some psychological damage where it's like, I want these people who are supposed to love me. So I will stay and do whatever I need to do, endure whatever pain I need to endure to get them to love me. And I think in doing that for so long, they finally just had a break. And that's when they were like, we're done. We have to kill them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not that many people are taking that into like, well, if it was really happening, no,
It's
no,
such
it's
a
not that
narrow,
black and white. This
exactly. It's such a narrow-minded. It's the same way as a woman gets raped. What were you wearing? Where were you going?
Why was your skirt so short?
Exactly.
Out at 10 o'clock at night.
Exactly. You know, God forbid.
And then, oh, there was a point where I'm forgetting the lawyer's name, where she was like, if their name was Lila and Erica, would this be happening? Because would you be doubting them?
Exactly.
Because they're men, and you're like, oh, they must be gay. They might have liked it. That's why they didn't say anything. Like that, it wouldn't have been a case if it was two women.
And I understand that Erik's saying he's not gay, but in the story, the way Cooper played it so well when he was in the jail, he had his little moment with his little friend, and then like when he was telling her in the Hurt Man, like, you know, I've been with men and it's so nice. I just felt so bad. I was like, I just want him to be who he wants to be.
If he doesn't, I seen somebody, one of the reporters saying, if you don't get nominated for the Hurt Man, I will light the city of LA on fire. And I'm like, I'll be right there with you. I'll move to Montreal, take a plane from Montreal and go. Because
the amount of times I had to kind of pause that episode and go like, whoo, you know, it a single shot, but all you see is the back of the lawyer, and then it zooms in closer and closer and closer to Erik's face. And I'm just like, oh my God.
That last side eye he gives when he says if he doesn't get out of there, it's gonna be a problem. And he just looks like to the side. I was like, God.
Yeah,
that alone.
That look alone.
And they did do it in one take. They said they confirmed that they did in one take. I fell in love. I fell in love with the acting.
No, I fell in love with the man, and I know he's gay.
Yeah, no, I know.
Allegedly,
his acting. Like,
Cooper's gay in real life?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I look forward to his other work. I want him booked and busy. I mean, I love NAC, and he always has a special heart in my place in my heart. I want him. I
saw
great dreams for him.
He signed with CAA.
He signed with CAA. Yes.
That is
like, I cannot wait to see what's in store for him. But Cooper, oh boy,
both of them are going places, and I think phenomenal acting in this is the only reason I tolerated it.
Yeah,
thank you. That's the best resume to take it, because honestly, if it's not for the acting, I would have absolutely hated that series.
Yeah. I have no plans of watching it again.
No, me neither.
It was a one and done.
Yeah.
But I have to thank you ladies for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us
so much. We're going to do this again. Yes. Yay. For another series, I don't know. We'll find another series that we can talk about. But thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching the Real Chatter podcast. So until next video, we're out of here. Bye.
Thank you for having us. Bye.